it's amazing in some respects that the Great Fire hasn't been, you know, kind of created on the scale before, because it's an incredible story.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, it's good to be the first one. I mean, everything after this will then be, you know, measured up against it, I suppose. But it's commendable. I mean, you know, all kudos goes to Tom for writing it, because how do you know, it's almost an impossible feat to write that on such a scale, and yet to keep it, you know, personal, and have all these little stories that actually mean something to the you know, wider narrative. So
yeah, that's the thing about historical drama, because it can be very one-dimensional. It can be very dry, you know.
Yeah, where nothing actually happens.
Yeah, apart from the event, and you know, people die.
But I think ITV over the past 3 or 4 years have sort of really been ambitious in their commissions. Like, they will look at sort of, I mean, I've done Mrs. Biggs in the past, which was the Great Train Robbery, so it's, but this is the Great Fire, and they're looking at this huge moment in history, but they tell these stories from a sort of human point of view, which enables the audience to you know, like, they're enthralled by it, and they empathise with the characters that they're watching. And like what Tom said earlier in the Q&A, if it gets people wanting to look back at history and learn something new, kids in particular, it's a great thing.
The recreation of London, it looked authentic. I mean, I couldn't tell the divide, which is always a great sign. You know, I couldn't tell where, you know, the buildings were actual or whether it was CGI. Were you impressed with the set?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. We used some real sort of Tudor housing as well for the interior of our bit, but there were scenes where, you know, they had built entire streets, which, you know, horses and carriages were going down, and, you know, had an upstairs, and there's, you know, they're people, and the entire, they're kind of inhabited, and they're full of stuff, you know, that works, that you can pick up, you know, wash brushes and brooms and beds and all of that. And then the set where we were on, with the river set, was extraordinary, a giant tank with huge buildings on the side of it. And then one day I came back and it was all gone. It was all black, and
they set the whole thing alight.
I came in one day and I was like, where did it go?
In the last week.
You wouldn't want your cameras to jam or anything, would you, when you're filming that?
No, God.
I think it's a great mixture of, like, real burning the streets for real and CGI. Like you said, it's seamless. You can't, and that's the key. If you don't question it, then it's a success.